How you doing, guys? I'm the Green Devil. Welcome to my channel. Okay, we're doing another observation on my railing, right, of an inferior mirage. Now, the difference today is we're going to apply some variables. We're going to use the, compressed gas in this container. I know, it's in a container, yada yada yada. But it's also compressed, so that makes sense. Anyway, it's liquid. It ends up being liquefied. I've used it before. And what we're going to do is, as it boils off, it cools the air right there in its immediate vicinity. In other words, it simulates that denser, colder air that would cause light rays to bend in a certain manner. Now with the inferior mirage, as you can see, it causes that kind of folding, right? The refraction that's occurring. Now, a lot of flat earthers, and some other individuals too, think that right here, nearest the object itself, is where all this is happening. The reality is there's a warm layer going all the way across the entirety of the railing, right? That means even right here, you have that same warm layer of air. Now we're going to use some points of reference. So we have is now right here. It is actually sunk into the railing just a little bit, and that's mainly so you can kind of see a little bit of that folding effect a little easier. So we're going to place Zekov right there. In a moment, I'm going to introduce the zoom in a little bit. I'm going to introduce the condensed liquid gas, which of course will change the density. Now, if the theory, opinion, whatever, if it's true that the fold line is actually here or in about right here, then that means this would be affected, right? In other words, you wouldn't see this inferior mirage that's supposed to be happening, right? It's supposed to be happening right about here. If I chill the air, then it would disturb it. It would kind of make it go away a little bit. Let's find out. Now, in all honesty, how much change did you really see? Did it make it stop? Did it make it go away? No, it didn't change anything. Now, we're going to move the car to a certain distance. Just in case you couldn't see it past the car, we'll place the car right about there. Okay. Now we're going to move. Since we moved it, we're going to put that. And you can actually see a bit of that inferior miraging right there through the wheels. It's kind of neat, right? That is a very, very awesome effect, right? You got to admit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring it a little closer so you can actually see more of the effect. Okay. We'll bring it right about here. That way you can actually see through the wheels. Right? Can you still see through the wheels a little bit? There you go, sure. I can probably move it over a little bit, but I think you get the point. Alright. Well, now what happens if I put it between car and you guys. Not bad. A little bit of change. Not much. Alright, now I'm going to put this car right about here, and there's a reason for that. We'll put it right about here. You guys can hopefully still see the inferior mirage happening. Hopefully that didn't change much, other than being out of focus. Alright, you guys can still kind of see it right behind the car. Tell you what, let's take the car away for a moment. You got a nice, pristine, clear. You can see all the way to the back. All right, good. Now I'm going to place kind of a little bit. I'm going to say right about here. Now that should, oh, yep, there it goes. Now that disturbs the inferior mirage, right? That's roughly halfway between the camera and that car. And as, of course, the area heats up, you're able to see that inferior mirage again. If I do it really close, like that, well, you can see it gets rid of the inferior mirage almost entirely. Until, of course, it quickly warms up, and then you're back to having an inferior mirage. You want to see that again? Because I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, no more inferior mirage. But of course, as it warms up, and we're back to having an inferior mirage. It happens pretty quick. There it is. Bingo. As soon as the railing reached that higher temperature, obviously more so than the air, the air right above it did that. All right. So we can do it again at a different location. Happens pretty fast, but that inferior mirage kind of goes away, and it comes back as the air right there warms back up again. We'll do it again right about that halfway point. Disturbs it enough. Now, I'd bet dollars to donuts that the closer I get, basically the further I get away from the observer at this point, you're going to get an inferior mirage. You're still going to see a part of the inferior mirage. It'll be right around here, but you'll see it downrange a little differently. So about halfway between here and here, well, I'll say a third. But you'll notice that you see the inferior mirage. Right? You still see it. But you did get a chance to see the effects of the liquid gas. And then the closer I get, the less you see the effect of the colder air. Ah, that almost didn't affect it at all, right? And then eventually, of course, right here, where most people believe the fold line is, which is probably, let's see if I can guess. Now, mind you, I can't see this the way you guys do. So I'd say, what? Right about here. Oh, wait, there you go. You probably see my finger getting weird. Again, pour that cold air, or, well, liquefied air. Liquefied gas? I don't know. Ah, yeah. That didn't seem to do much at all. So the reality is, even though this layer, right, it's all right here, right? I can't see it, but I can kind of feel it. You can kind of feel that the warmth radiating from the railing. To be about right here, I'd almost hazard a guess. Now again, that's not where the fold line is. This right here isn't where it is either. Roughly halfway between observer, well, the observer, you guys, and that card, which is right around here. Okay. Now, right about here, you might see a little bit of that mirroring, a little bit of that warping, right? A little bit less, definitely less, and then even more so, right? Again, I'm looking straight down. I can't see this, but I know it's there. Same thing, halfway point, roughly, right about there. And you see it's disturbing it. You know, let's do that right there. That way you guys can hopefully kind of see everything. Wow, that's probably not really any good. For the most part, I have to wait for the sun to start shining. That way it increases the temperature on the surface here. It heats up the air that's right above it. And again, I don't see this, but I'm pretty sure that you guys see my fingers warped. Right? More so over here than over here, if you guys can still see that. One more time, over here at this end, getting this air all nice and cold. Doesn't change it much, or if any. Granted, I can't see this, what you guys are looking at, till after I review this. But, bet dollars and donuts, it didn't do much. Not like this. Am I right? The sun going behind a cloud does more than me changing the temperature downrange. But here, just for the hell of it, I'm gonna see if I can be quick about this. We're gonna do it real fast. We're gonna do there, 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 and there. Or just again, we'll I'm running out of steam. There we go. And that's it. I went to the entire can to show you guys that where you think the fold line is, where you think where you're seeing the mirage is at, isn't where you think it is. It's not here. It's roughly about halfway between the card and the observer, which means that the event that you're seeing, the folding, how you're able to see it is simple geometry, right? The angle of incidence, if you will. The light coming from there has to go here, right? But it's scattering in all directions, okay? So what's going to happen is as the light from here scatters in all directions, it ends up hitting this little layer here and gets scattered and scattered and scattered. So you're not really seeing anything underneath here, anything below this fold line. You don't see, because you can't. It's being scattered completely differently. And as it comes, the ones that are coming in a little bit straight, but not perfectly, because it's all going like this, right? About halfway, and again, this is how you get an angle of incidence, is there has to be a halfway point between that. So it ends up curving right about here, and then goes just right into into the camera. At least you guys can see it. That's how I know, roughly, right around here is where it starts. That's how I knew where to disturb it the most. Now, granted, of course, the closer it is, the effects using the colder air become more apparent, because you can't see through it. The light still passes here, goes through that, gets bent back the other way, and you're able to, the inferior mirage kind of cancels out anywhere between these zones from here forward. That's it. So the idea that if there's cold back here, further away from the observer, and that's somehow going to change the conditions to a point where this somehow sinks down. Obviously it didn't, the card stayed in place. This right here never moved, right? You got to see the fold line in and around what you think is here. Reality, of course, is it's over here, because that's where the angle of incidence kind of hits you. So it's never where you think it really is, just looking out into the distance. Okay? Same consequence if you're paying attention to this. You'll notice that since it's a little further, when I was moving a little bit closer towards this way, right? When I was coming this way with the colder air, that changed how this looks, right? You cancel it out a little closer there, because again, that's the halfway point, which would have been, I guess, right about here-ish, right? Probably would have changed it. Anything closer than that, of course, you would be looking through completely through those layers of differing densities. So, hope that helped. This needed to be a little bit longer just because I had to talk you guys through it. I've been the Bearded Devil. Thanks for watching.